Hi, my name is Emily, and you won't believe the year that I've had. It all started when my husband Jim and I were on our honeymoon. We went to a tropical island to soak up the sun and spend some quality time together. It was incredibly romantic, and we had an amazing time together, but just as the trip was coming to an end, I began to feel ill. It started off as just feeling tired all the time, but slowly I started to feel dizzy, and I kept getting fevers without anything causing them. Jim was incredibly worried, and so we saw the doctor where I received the worst news. I was diagnosed with leukemia. In an instant, all my hopes and dreams for the future were stolen from me. I wasn't going to become a mother. I wasn't going to grow old. It was almost too much for me to take, but that was only the beginning. Not long after my diagnosis, I started my treatments and I began to lose my hair. It was at that point that Jim began to grow distant. The worse I looked, the less he would come to the hospital to visit me. I tried to not take it personally, and just assumed that he was working as much as possible to pay for my treatments, but then one day he came to visit and brought divorce papers.
I'm sorry, Emily. I thought I was strong enough, but I just can't handle the stress of your treatments and the medical bills on top of that. So I want a divorce.
I didn't know what to say. I was so confused and heartbroken. Without the strength to fight back, though, I signed the papers and watched him go. I couldn't believe my luck. Not only was I suffering from a terminal illness, but now the one person that I could count on to support me was abandoning me. I was so lost and felt so hopeless. But then out of all the people to come to my rescue, my former sister-in-law, Jennifer, came to visit me in the hospital.
Oh my God, Emily. I came as soon as I heard. I'm so sorry that my brother is such a jerk. But don't worry. I'm here to help take care of you, and I won't leave your side.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. I was so lost and terrified. But now that you're here, I do feel a lot better. We had never really been that close before, but I was desperate for a friendly face, and so I just counted my blessings and focused on my treatments. Although it didn't look good for me. I was in dire need of a transplant, but so far there hadn't been any matches. There were so many days when my meds would leave me feeling in a daze. The weeks passed, and unfortunately my condition only got worse. Then one day, Jennifer came and visited me and brought with her some paperwork. I was in one of my delirious states, and I barely understood what she was saying to me. The only thing I remember was signing some paperwork before I lost consciousness. The next day I asked her about it, but she made up an odd explanation. Hey Jennifer, what happened yesterday? I remember signing something, but I don't recall what.
Oh, those were just donor application forms. The hospital has implemented a new system and you had to sign up for it or else you might miss out. And we wouldn't want that.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate you looking out for me like that.
Of course. Anything to help make you better.
After that day, things began to accelerate, though. I was in more and more pain, and my energy levels kept fading. The amount of days where I was in a fog were outnumbering the good days. I recalled Jennifer talking to the doctors a lot on those days, although I had no idea what they were speaking about until one day one of the nurses came to speak to me. Thankfully, it was one of my more lucid days.
Hello, Emily. Are you feeling good today?
Not good, but I'm here and doing okay.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Listen, I just wanted to confirm something with you. Your sister-in-law told us that you wanted to be removed from the donor list, which I found very confusing, since we just found a donor for you. Are you sure that you want to be removed?
Removed? No, that isn't right. I desperately want to receive the transplant. Please. It's the one thing that will help me get better.
That's what I thought. Okay, listen to me. I need you to trust me. I need you to sign these papers. It's a lot to ask, but they will give me the power to make decisions for you when you feel all foggy and not in the best state.
Okay.
No, she won't, though. She told us that you didn't want the transplant, and this is the third one that she has given up for you. You could have been healed weeks ago. I don't know why she is doing this, but she is letting you die. I know it's a lot to ask for, but I know you're a good person. Please sign this paperwork so that we can help you get better.
Frightened, I chose to trust her and signed it. Before she left my room, she gave me a hug. The next day, I was being prepped for my transplant when Jennifer came into the room. I instantly came up with the idea to pretend that I was having a bad day and acted like I was delirious so that she wouldn't know that I understood her.
What are you doing? I didn't give the okay for this?
If she doesn't receive this treatment, then she'll die.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. Why are you such an idiot? You don't understand. I'm paying for a very expensive life insurance plan for her, and I'm very deep in debt. If she doesn't die soon, then I'll be ruined. So just move away from her. I don't want her to get the transplant.
How can you be so heartless? She's your sister-in-law.
Ex-sister-in-law. Get it right. Besides, I owe over $200,000, and if I don't get the life insurance money soon, I'll be out on the street, as will my brother. We're both counting on her dying as soon as possible. Now get away from her.
That was my quay to sit up and glare at her. You selfish and evil cow, you're even worse than your brother. At least he just left me, but you are actively trying to kill me. I never want to see you ever again. And you can tell your brother that I'm glad that he left me. The two of you can rot in hell for all I care. If I had the strength to, I would have slapped her. Instead, she just smiled and left the room. I assumed that she thought that I was too far gone and that no matter what happened, that she would be able to collect on the life insurance. But I didn't care. Once she was gone, I was wheeled to another room where I received my transplant. The days that followed were tense, but I began to start feeling better. Every day I began to feel stronger and stronger until I was given the news that my leukemia was in remission. Not long after that, I was told that it was completely gone. I was cured. On the day that I was set to leave the hospital, I went and found the nurse that had helped me and thanked her. She had literally saved my life. In an effort to thank her, I asked if would join me for dinner, and she agreed. That dinner started a wonderful friendship, and I'm happy to say that we are still friends to this very day. Not long afterwards, she introduced me to her brother, and we hit it off right away. He was just as sweet and compassionate as she was. We began to date, and then one day we got engaged. I couldn't have been any happier, but the blessings kept coming, and soon after that, I found out that I was pregnant. Filled with worry, I told my fiancé, and he grew ecstatic and told me that everything would be okay. He had apparently not told me something rather huge. He had learned that he needed to keep his financial situation a secret from people that he dated so that they weren't interested in him for the wrong reasons. To me, this was just such a huge surprise, and so I told him that I didn't care if he had a lot of debt or if he was poor. I loved him and his huge heart. No matter what happened, we would make it work.
No, my love. It's actually the exact opposite. A few years ago, I won the lottery. I'm extremely rich. Money will never be a problem for us.
I couldn't believe it, but then he showed me his bank account statement, and there was so much in there that I almost fainted. As for my ex-husband and his sister, well, they got into quite a bit of trouble. The hospital notified the police that they had tried to cash in on a life insurance policy on me and were actively denying me treatments to get me to pass away sooner. Upon hearing this, the police went to go look for them, but they had fled because the people that they owed money to were threatening them. It took the police months before they finally tracked them down and threw them in prison for fraud and attempted murder. So yeah, the last year started off very harsh. I went from being happily married to nearly dying. I was almost killed by my own ex-sister-in-law, only to be saved by a complete stranger who has become my absolute best friend. And then on top of all that, I have a child on the way with my new fiancé, who is the best man in the whole world. To be honest, even if he was actually poor, I would still want to spend the rest of my life with him. It's funny that it took my getting ill for me to find out what kind of man my first husband truly was, and for me to eventually meet the true love of my life. Life is just odd sometimes, don't you agree?